Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, so I have, I have sent the marks for your second test already. Right. I hope every one of you has got right. If someone did not get, please send me mail.
Sir, can't hear your voice, sir.
You are not able to hear my voice.
Sir,
So you're
audible, sir.
audible.
It's audible, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
so I think it is audible to most of the people, but if someone is not able to hear, that may be problem from your side. Check that. Okay, so second test results I have already sent to you, right? So hope everyone has got it, and your performance is also, good. Maybe the paper what I have set is, I know it is easy, right? So okay, so that is regarding your exam. If someone has not got their marks, send me mail. So I will send their marks to their mail ID. Okay. So coming to our discussion. Right. So last class we have started discussing. Please switch off your mics. Last class we have already started discussing. Please switch off your mics. Okay. So we started discussing regarding transformers. So we have seen basic construction of the transformer. Two types we have already seen. One is core type, another one is shell type. And the basic parts are like core will be there and two windings will be there. And the vertical portion of the core is called as leg or limb, and the horizontal portion of the core is called as yoke. Okay, this is what we have seen already. And for high voltage and high power, usually core type transformer is used, and for low voltage and low power applications we use shell type of transformer, right? So can anyone say on what principle transformer works on? What is the basic principle on
Constant
which
power, sir. Power equal to constant.
power equal to constant?
Mutual
Okay.
induction.
Mutual
Mutual induction.
Okay. So it's basically works on the principle of mutual induction. Okay. Constant power, that is also, it's not the principle on which it works, but you are saying that constant power will be there. Okay. So from input to output, of course, some losses will be there. Because of that, output power may be little bit less than the input power. Okay. We'll see all those things. So coming to the principle, right? So principle of transformer action. Okay. So what it states is transformer works on the principle of Faraday's laws of ferromagnetic induction between two or more coupled circuits or coils. Okay. That is nothing but a mutual induction between two or more circuits. Okay. Right. And these two circuits are not electrically connected, but they are connected through flux, that is like mutual induction. Okay. So according to this principle, an EMF is induced in a coil if it links a changing flux. Okay. So already we have seen what is Faraday's law, right? If there is a time varying flux linking with a coil, then an EMF will be induced in the coil. Okay. Right. And the magnitude of this induced EMF is given by Faraday's second law, which is rate of change of flux linkage. Okay. Right. So transformer works on this basic principle, basically on the Faraday's laws or the principle of mutual induction. Right. So if you see here, I have drawn the basic schematic diagram of a two-winding transformer. Okay. So if you see on the left-hand side, there is one circuit. Okay. So there is nothing but coil 1 or winding 1, which has n1 number of turns. So some number of turns should be there. So I have given a notation as n1. So n1 turns are present in this winding. That's what I'm assuming. Okay. So here this P indicates what it indicates. Can anyone say what is
Primary.
that P stands for?
Primary.
Okay.
Primary.
So
Primary
P stands for primary. Okay.
coil.
So primary coil or primary winding. So P stands for primary, and obviously S stands for secondary, and the number of turns I have assumed to be N2. So this is the basic schematic diagram. Okay. So schematic diagram and circuit diagram are different. Okay. Right. This is called as schematic diagram. Okay. Circuit diagram means from electrical point of view, all should be electrical parameters. Okay. It's a schematic diagram where there is some magnetic circuit, which is nothing but the core, right? And some part is electrical circuit. Okay. So that's why we call this one as schematic diagram of a two winding transformer. This is primary because source is applied to the left hand side winding. So that's why we call it as primary. Okay. Where you are connecting source, that is called as primary winding. Right. So I have applied a voltage of V1. Okay. So according to Faraday's law, what should happen? The voltage which was applied is an alternating voltage. Okay. So an alternating current will flow through the primary winding. Correct. Right. So what happens when alternating voltage was given, alternating current is flowing, then there is a chance that alternating flux can be generated in the core. Correct now? So alternating flux can be generated in the core. So what they are saying is the primary winding is connected to an alternating voltage source. Okay. Therefore, an alternating current IE, okay, starts flowing through N1 turns. Right now. So there are N1 turns and the current IE is flowing through the N1 turns and completing its circuit. And since the voltage V1 is alternating, the excitation current IE stands for excitation current here. Okay. I stands for current and E stands for excitation. Okay. So IE is called as excitation current in the present circuit. Okay. So this IE is also alternating. Right. So what the second point states, the alternating magnetomotive force. What is this magnetomotive force? Does anyone have any idea? What could be the unit for magnetomotive force? Can you say? Okay.
The voltage.
Voltage. So what is electromotive force? EMF means
Volts, sir.
volts. So EMF in an electrical circuits is nothing but electromotive force or EMF we call it. That is nothing but voltage and unit is volts. Similar to EMF, there is something term called as MMF, magnetomotive force, in a magnetic circuit. Right. So this magnetomotive force is nothing but your MMF, and the basic how it is going to be generated is given by this formula. There is nothing but N into IE. That means if some current is flowing in a winding and it has some number of turns, the product of number of turns and the current flowing in that particular winding is equal to your MMF, magnetomotive force. Can you say what will be the unit now?
Ampere.
Ampere.
What
Ampere.
about N? What about N?
Sir, N is number,
Number,
no, sir. Constant.
So if you say ampere, then magnetomotive force in a magnetic circuit and electric current in an electrical circuit are going to be equal. If you say the unit is ampere, right? So the unit is called as ampere turns. Okay, they call it as ampere turns because N has a number of turns, so the unit will be ampere turns. Okay, right. So you can't say it is amperes because we have already defined a unit for current as amperes, so you can't have a same unit for other quantity, right? So magnetomotive force is MMF and the unit is ampere turns and the basic formula is N into I. Okay, right. So this MMF will also be alternating because it is coming from current and current is coming from voltage and voltage is already alternating, right? So what happens is, if an MMF was set up in a magnetic circuit is in the present case core, right? So this MMF sets an alternating flux which is confined to the high permeability iron path as shown. That means your voltage has created an alternating current, and alternating current when flowing through N1 turns produces an MMF. MMF is equivalent to an electromotive force in an electrical circuit, but MMF is in a magnetic circuit. That means it is an identical quantity. In electrical circuit we call it as EMF, in a magnetic circuit we call it as MMF, right? This MMF sets up flux phi which will be flowing in the core, correct now? So this flux will also be alternating, right? Because it is coming from MMF and MMF is also alternating, right? So when this flux is alternating, so according to Faraday's law, whenever a coil cuts or links a changing flux, an EMF will be induced in that particular coil, right? So what can happen? There is a chance that voltage can be developed across your secondary terminals, correct na? In the similar way, some voltage can be developed in your primary terminals also. That means flux is varying with respect to time, and according to Faraday's law, EMF will be developed in your primary winding, and in your secondary winding also one EMF will be developed, correct? Right. So this alternating flux induces EMF in the primary P and E2 in the secondary S. If the load is connected across the secondary, that means here I have shown an open circuit. If in case some load is connected across this secondary terminals, load current will also start flowing, correct now? Right. So the EMF induced in the secondary winding is usually referred as EMF due to transformer action. Okay. So that means because of transformer action, because of mutual flux existing in the core, EMF will be induced in the secondary winding, as well as EMF will be induced in the primary winding. Okay. Right. So here right hand side one more picture was shown which is called as right hand thumb rule. Okay. So what it states? We should know what is the direction of the flux. Right. So in the present circuit, the direction of current is shown by the fingers, 4 fingers, and the direction of flux is shown by the thumb. Okay. So that means if you use your right hand and place in the same fashion as it is shown here, your 4 fingers indicates the direction of current flowing in the winding, and upward direction is the flux flowing in the core. Is it clear? Or anyone has doubt with regards to this? You're able to hear me, right?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what it states is alternating voltage is given and alternating MMF is produced. MMF is a term which is related to your magnetic circuit, and magnetic circuit will, that means flux will be generated in your magnetic circuit, which is also varying with respect to time. Okay. And EMF will be generated in your primary and secondary windings, and the direction of flux is given by right hand thumb rule. So as shown in the picture, the flux will be flowing in that particular direction in the core. Okay. Can anyone say if I connect a load on the secondary side, current will be leaving from the top terminal or current will be leaving from the bottom terminal? Can anyone guess? As of, or otherwise, even though there, if I don't connect any load, some voltage I have already told it is generated, right? So what could be the polarity of the voltage E2 on the secondary side? Can anyone say? That means plus will be on the top or plus will be on the bottom. That means plus will be here or plus will be here.
Sir, bottom.
Bottom will be your plus. How?
Yes, sir. Sir, according to Faraday law, sir, the flux change will be, sir, resistance opposite wise, sir.
Flux will be right. Okay. Okay, we'll see that how the flux will be. So there is, it depends on how you have wound your winding on the core. Okay, if you see here, your winding is, that means your top terminal winding is on the other side of the core, and this side is your I mean, what you are seeing is only half of the winding. That means one side only you can see, other side you are not able to see. Okay, the basic principle is the generated EMF, okay, whatever polarity you choose, that will produce some amount of current in your secondary winding. That current should produce a flux which will oppose the main flux. That's what Lenz law states, right? Lenz law states that the flux which was produced because of the induced EMF, okay, should be such that it will oppose the main flux. Okay, so you have to choose the polarity based on that principle. That means if I close the circuit and if some current is flowing, that current should be such that the flux produced by that current should be opposing the main flux phi. Okay, right. Anyway, we will see that in the next slide. Okay, so
Sir,
yeah.
can we say like this, sir? Sir, if we roll our fingers across the direction of current and we take the thumb as north, sir.
Yeah.
The flux would be flowing from north to south, no, sir?
What is north to south? That means top, huh?
No, sir. If we, this P is there, no, sir, in primary one.
Yeah.
If we take our four fingers as a direction of current, the thumb would be showing us the north direction, no, sir?
Yeah.
And
anyway, we'll see that next slide. I think you will get a better picture. Okay, once we go forward. Okay, so basically the concept is if some current is flowing, that current should produce a flux which will oppose the main flux. That is the basic principle. So according to that, you have to choose your polarity. Okay, right. We'll see that next slide. You will get a better picture. Okay, so this is regarding the basic principle how it works. Some voltage will be generated in the primary and secondary windings because of the varying flux. Okay, right. So we'll see the polarity and other things in the next slide. Okay, right. So this is the basic principle. It works on Faraday's laws of electromagnetic induction and the mutual flux linking the primary and secondary windings. Okay, so before we go and understand what is the, I mean, practical transformer. Practical transformer means in a real transformer you will have losses. Okay, you will have core losses, copper losses, and the entire flux which was generated from the primary may not be flowing in the core. Some may be completing its circuits through air. Okay, it's not true that entire flux which was produced on the primary will go and link the secondary, because some amount of flux can take its path through the air. Okay, right. So in a real transformer all these things happen. Okay, but before understanding what is a real transformer, we will start with an ideal transformer. Okay, right. So ideal transformer here means I am assuming that these are the four basic points which were shown on your screen. We'll go one by one. Right. So for an ideal transformer, the following are the various assumptions. What is that? Winding resistances are neglected. Okay. So usually when you have a winding, obviously some amount of resistance will be there. So that I am assuming that resistance is equals to 0. So that is my first assumption in an ideal transformer. Second one is entire flux set up by the primary links to the secondary winding. Okay. So that means all the flux is confined to the transformer magnetic core. Okay. So what second point states that whatever flux which was generated in the primary side is flowing through the core and it is going to link your secondary winding. Okay. So that is my second assumption. Okay. Third one is core losses. Right. Core losses are of two parts. One is hysteresis and the one is eddy current losses. So we are assuming that the core losses are negligible. Okay. That means there are no core losses in an ideal transformer. That's what we are assuming. The last point states that the core has constant permeability and the magnetization curve for the core is linear. What is the meaning of this one? Can anyone has any idea regarding this? Right. So core has constant permeability means whatever flux which was generated by the excitation current I. Okay. So that is that current and flux has a linear relationship. Okay. Linear relationship means it's a straight line. That's what is the assumption. Usually what happens is if you have a small core and if you have a winding where large amount of current you are pumping in, then your core may not be have the ability to carry that flux. Okay, right, because the core is a very small one and you are trying a large amount of current to flow through the winding. Okay, so obviously the amount of flux which was generated by the primary current, okay, that may not be handled by the core because the core we have chosen is a very small in dimension. Okay, but we are assuming that for the present ideal case, the entire flux which was generated from the primary is able to be handled by the core. Okay, that means the core has infinite flux carrying capacity. That's what it indirectly means. Okay, then only we'll have a linear relationship. That means constant permeability. So these are the four assumptions we are assuming and trying to study how a transformer works. Okay, so these assumptions we will keep in mind, right? Okay, so next is EMF electromagnetic force equation. Okay, we have told that an EMF E1 will be induced in the primary and EMF E2 will be induced in the secondary. So that I have already discussed in the last slide. Okay, so what will be the value of that EMF? What will be the expression for that EMF? That we will see now. Right, for a sinusoidal voltage V1 applied on the primary side of the transformer, the excitation current IE will also be sinusoidal. Right, the MMF, that is magnetomotive force, given by N1 into IE, and therefore the core flux phi is in time phase with excitation current IE and varies sinusoidally. So what it means is V1 is sinusoidal, excitation current IE coming from V1 is also sinusoidal, MMF which is given as N1 into IE is also sinusoidal. The flux phi which was generated by the MMF is also in a sinusoidal fashion, and since it's an ideal transformer, your flux and the excitation current are in phase. Okay, in time phase with IE. That's what they are saying. Right. So that means phi and excitation current are in phase. That means there is no phase difference between the phi and the excitation current. That's what it means. Okay. So now flux phi is sinusoidal, right? So I am assuming the flux phi is given by this expression, phi max into sine of omega t. I can do it, right? Because V1 is sinusoidal and I is sinusoidal, so phi is also sinusoidal function. So I am assuming that phi is equals to phi max into sine of omega t. Okay, phi max is the maximum value of the magnetic flux in Webers. Unit for flux is Webers. I hope you know that, right? And omega is 2 into pi into f is the angular frequency in radians per second, and f is the supply frequency in hertz. That means I am assuming the flux phi has a sinusoidal function phi max into sine of omega t as shown in this figure. Okay, right. So the EMF in the primary winding. Okay. So what it happens is the instantaneous EMF E1 in volts in the primary N1 turns is treated as a voltage drop in the direction of excitation current IE. Okay. Here you should understand that the flux phi is phi max into sine omega t, and the EMF E1 and E2 induced in the primary and secondary windings are given by Faraday's second law, which is n into d phi by dt. Okay, correct now. So here there is a voltage E1 and voltage E2. Okay, right. So for E1 expression, it is E1 is equals to N1 into d phi by dt. There will not be any minus sign here. Why means here we are assuming that E1 is not a voltage source. E1 is treated as a voltage drop in the direction of excitation current IE. Okay. That means we are considering this as a voltage drop in the direction of excitation current IE. That's why there is no minus sign in this expression. Okay. Is it clear? So that means we are considering as a drop because it's E1 is a part of your electrical circuit which was already there, and V1 is a supply coming from the source, and it has created a current IE to flow in your circuit, that means primary circuit, and V1 is the voltage which was dropping across your transformer primary turns N1 turns. So this E1 is given by N1 into d phi by dt. Okay. Phi we have already assumed as phi m into sine of omega t. So substitute that phi in your expression and try to get an expression for E1. Substitute phi is equals to phi m sine omega t in this expression and try to get an expression for voltage E1.
N1 omega t.
Expression means in time domain function I want.
N1 phi
omega
m
cos
omega cos omega t.
N1
omega
phi
cos omega t. Phi m.
and N1 phi m omega cos omega t. Can you convert that cos into equivalent sign?
So sine pi by 2 minus omega t.
Sin pi by 2 minus omega t. Is it correct? Did everyone got that basic expression?
Sir,
Yes,
sin
sir.
90 plus omega t.
How much? Sin
Plus omega t.
sin omega t plus 90 or 90 plus omega t. Okay. So
Yes,
everyone try to do that. Simply substitute phi is equals to phi m sin omega t in this expression and find out what will be the expression for E1. Okay. Right. So if you do that, you are going to get expression in this format. N1 is constant, so phi m sin omega t, if you derivative, you do that. So you are going to get finally N1 into phi m into omega into sine of omega t plus pi by 2 or plus 90 degrees. This is the expression for E1. Okay, so that means if you assume phi is equals to phi m sin of omega t flowing in the core, that will generate a voltage of V1 in your primary winding, which was given by this expression. Okay, and the polarity of E1 will be plus at the top and minus at the bottom. Okay, because you are considering it as a voltage drop in the direction of excitation current. That means in this current direction, this is considered as a voltage drop, the E1 whatever you got.
Sir,
Okay.
sir, if we want to use phi is equals to Li here, then sir, we will have to write I is equals to Im sin omega t.
Phi is equals to,
Li.
okay.
Sir, then we will have to write I as Im sin omega t.
Yeah. Okay. You want to substitute, since
Yes.
in the present case, we are assuming phi as phi m sin omega t. Why means because phi is a common element for primary winding as well as your secondary winding. That means phi is going to create a voltage E1 on the primary side and voltage E2 on the secondary side. Okay, so this is a common element to get the expression for both the circuits. So that's the reason why we have assumed phi is equals to phi m sin of omega t. Okay, if you write this one in terms of current, okay, basically this phi is also coming from this current only. Okay, can anyone
Yes.
say what is how you have got this relationship between MMF and flux? Do you know anyone has a formula? Some formula will be there. Does anyone has any idea?
Sir, earlier you said that V across L across anything.
Sir, I
No, no,
think
no.
it has
V
come
equal
from
to
the
L di by dt.
V is equals to L di by dt. Okay, no. My question, what I am asking is, this flux phi is equals to sin omega t. I have assumed. I may assumed means because it's a sinusoidal function. That is the expression I have taken. And this flux is actually coming from MMF. Where that MMF is generated? MMF formula is given as N1 into IE. Correct, na?
Yes, sir.
That means the current flowing in the primary winding and the number of turns in the primary winding. That is the MMF. Okay. I am asking, is there any formula formula relationship between MMF and phi? You might have studied, na? Flux phi is magnetomotive force by reluctance. You have studied or not? Phi is equals to MMF by reluctance.
No, sir.
No studied.
No, sir, we haven't studied this.
Okay. So in
MMF is new to us, sir.
yeah, what?
Reluctance.
MMF is
Yeah.
new to us, sir.
Okay. So MMF is new to you, na? So in an electrical circuit, you will have EMF. Okay. Right. So flux phi in a magnetic circuit is equivalent to your current. Okay. Right. So it is nothing but similar to your current in your electrical circuit. So how an EMF and current are related? E is equals to I into R. So similar to that, MMF is equals to, or flux phi is equals to MMF by reluctance. That means reluctance is somewhat which is similar to resistance in your electrical circuit. Okay, so flux phi is MMF by reluctance, similar to EMF by resistance in your electrical circuit. Okay, so MMF in a magnetic circuit corresponds to EMF in an electrical circuit. Flux phi in a magnetic circuit corresponds to current in an electrical circuit, and resistance in an electrical circuit corresponds to a reluctance in a magnetic circuit. Okay, so flux phi is MMF by reluctance. Okay, similar to current I is equals to voltage by resistance. Okay, right. So resistance is the property of the conductor. Similarly, reluctance is the property of a magnetic circuit. That means based on the dimension of the core, physical dimension of the core, and what kind of material you have used. Okay, what is the length of this core? What is the cross-sectional area of this core? So based on that, you will have a term called reluctance. Okay, right. So that reluctance is the physical property of the core material. So MMF which was generated in your primary winding, which is nothing but N1 into IE, When you divide that with the reluctance, you will get the flux phi. Okay. Is it clear? Right. So these are similar to your electrical circuit only. Magnetic circuit is similar to your electrical circuit. Only thing is the terminology and the parameters have given different names, and the units of each parameter is also different. Okay. So MMF obviously is getting generated because you have N1 turns and current is coming from the source. Okay. So N into I will give you MMF. Unit is volt amperes. That one divided by reluctance gives you the flux phi. Okay. So that flux is flowing in the core of your transformer. In the present circuit, since flux phi is common to primary as well as your secondary winding, because this is the one which is generating voltage in your primary winding and the secondary winding, that is the reason we are starting our analysis with flux phi. Okay, right. If you want to convert in terms of phi is equals to L into I, all those analysis will also be correct. Okay, but you should properly choose, because if you say L into I, that will be related only to this winding. But if I choose flux phi as my base point and start analyzing, I can study what is happening in my secondary circuit also. That means the MMF what is generated in the secondary winding, and accordingly what is the EMF which is generated in the secondary winding can also I can study. So that's the reason why I have chosen flux phi is equals to phi m sin omega t, and I am starting my analysis from that point. Okay, right. So considering phi is equals to phi m sin omega t, according to Faraday's law, an EMF will be generated in primary and secondary, and the expression for EMF E1 is N1 into d phi by dt. We have not given minus sign here because we are considering this EMF as a voltage drop in the primary winding in the direction of excitation current. Okay, so that is the reason you don't have minus sign in the present expression. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Right. If you want to consider that E1 is not a drop and E1 is also a voltage source, obviously, right? Because when our flux is cutting, an EMF is induced in the primary winding, right? According to Faraday's law, that EMF will generate some amount of current. If you consider that EMF as a voltage source, E1, then you have to place a minus sign. Okay. So in the present scenario, since already some current is flowing from the source V1, and obviously V1 is the one which is forcing that current to flow in the primary winding. So we are assuming that E1 has a voltage drop in the direction of excitation current. That's why the minus sign was not shown in the expression. So E1 is equals to N1 into d phi by dt. Okay, so if you expand that expression, you are going to get N1 into phi m into omega into sine of omega t plus 90 degrees. So that means amplitude, obviously it is varying because N1 if you after derivative, but there is a phase angle difference of plus 90 degrees between your flux phi and the voltage E1 which was generated. Is it clear? So 90 degrees phase difference is existing between voltage E1 and the flux phi, and E1 is going to be leading your flux phi by 90 degrees. Right. Right. So what will be the RMS value for this E1? What is the maximum value from this expression for E1?
N1 phi m omega.
I am omega.
N1 phi m into omega is the maximum value. Since it's a sinusoidal function, RMS value will be max value divided by root 2. Right. So omega is already 2 into pi into f. We have already known that. Right. So what will be the expression for RMS value of E1?
N1 phi m omega root 2 pi f.
N1 phi m omega
Root 2 pi f.
Okay.
Sorry, omega, not only root 2 pi f.
Okay, right. So if I write this expression in terms of E1 max, that means the maximum value, where maximum value is N1 into phi m into omega, RMS value will be this maximum value divided by root 2. Okay.
Sir,
So,
sir,
okay. So E1 is equals to root 2 into pi into f into N1 into phi max. Right. So anyone has doubt in this?
yes, sir. Sir,
Yeah.
E1 equal to V1, sir.
E1 is equals to V1 in the present scenario. That will be shown in the next slide. Maybe if you see here, E1 equal to V1.
Yes,
It's
sir.
already.
Sir, and one thing, sir.
Yeah.
Small E1 and capital E1, how sir relate with each other?
No. Capital. Okay. So here, you are saying this one.
Yes, sir.
Small e1 is an instantaneous function of time, right? So that is given by this expression, which is e1 max into sine of omega t plus 90 degrees. Okay, so this n1 into phi m into omega is the maximum value. I have given a variable name like capital E1 max. Okay, this is some variable I have given. You can give whatever value you want. Okay, so this is your maximum value. Capital E1 always stands for RMS value in the present scenario, right?
Yes, sir.
So capital E1 is the RMS value. RMS value of E1. Okay, RMS value of EMF is E1 given by this one. E1 is the RMS value that is given as root 2 into pi into f into n1 into phi max. So this is the RMS value of your generated voltage E1, right? So capital E1 stands for RMS value. All capital letters stands for RMS values in this entire chapter. Okay, right. So E1 is, this is the RMS value. Since the primary winding resistance is neglected, that means we have already assumed for an ideal transformer the primary winding resistance is 0, right? So what happens if you apply KVL to this circuit? Minus V1 plus E1 should be equals to 0, so which indirectly means V1 is equals to E1, since there is no resistance drop in the winding. So V1 will be equals to E1, right? So that's what it was written here. So V1 is equals to E1. Is it clear regarding this expression for E1 and RMS values for V1 and E1, and why V1 is equals to E1?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right. So E1 is giving from, we are getting from flux phi expression after derivative, we are getting that. And since we are assuming voltage E1, which was developed across the primary winding as a voltage drop in the direction of excitation current, that's the reason you don't have minus sign in your expression. And if you do the derivation for that, we observe that E1 has an angle of plus 90 degrees with respect to your flux phi, right? And if you apply KVL for your primary winding, V1 is equals to E1, right? That's what we have seen till now with regards to your primary winding expression. I hope it is clear to everyone. Nothing much is there. You have to assume flux phi is equals to phi m sin omega t and do the derivation for that. That's all. Right. So now we will see what is the EMF induced in the secondary winding. Right. So EMF E2 induced in the secondary winding is given as E2 is equals to minus N2 into d phi by dt. Okay. Here you are getting a minus sign because according to Lenz's law, the negative sign indicates that the flux which was generated by this induced EMF will be opposing the main flux. Okay. So that's why you place the minus sign here. And it also means that we are considering E2 as a voltage source. That means it is the one which will deliver current from its positive terminal to the other part of the network. So that's what it means. Okay, so coming to the polarity, I have given plus at the top and minus at the bottom. Is it correct or not? Whatever I have shown.
Not understand.
Sir, I did it, but I could not get the same answer.
Tiger class lo unnanu. Hello? Hello? Class lo ఉన్నానండి. Right. 1 second. హలో
నాగి
క్లాస్ లో ఉన్నాను సార్.
కాదు కాదు నీ క్లాస్ లో 4:30కి ఉంటదంటే ఈవేళ అని చెప్పేసి నేను మెయిల్ పెట్టాను, నువ్వు ఒకసారి చెప్పేసి.
ఓకే ఓకే
ఉందంట 4:30కి ఉంటుంది.
ఓకే 4:30 will be your triple class. Okay. Okay, I will announce. Okay, so your triple class will be there at 4:30 in the evening. That's what sir was saying with me, right? So please make a note of that, and 4:30 in the evening you will have your triple class. Okay. Right. So coming back to our discussion, I have given E2 polarity as positive at M and negative at N. So how many of you feel that it is right? And if it is right, why? So whether you feel it is correct or wrong?
Sir, I did it, but I could not get the same answer. So
That means your positive and negative terminals are opposite to.
Yes, sir.
Positive and negative terminals are opposite to what I have shown. Okay, that's what you are saying.
Yes, sir. I tried, but I got that. So
Okay, so what is the basic formula? What it states? What Lenz law states that? What is Lenz law? You remember, right? Lenz law.
yes, sir. It opposes the change in flux. Any coil opposes change in flux.
The current flowing in the coil, because your E2 is generated by Faraday's laws of electromagnetic induction. Okay, and your Lenz law states that the EMF induced will produce a current in its winding such that the flux produced by that current should oppose the main flux.
Yes, sir.
Correct, na? In the present circuit, E2 positive terminal I have given at the top. So that means we are considering this E2 as a voltage source. So current should be delivered from the positive terminal to the other part of the network. Correct, na?
Yes, sir. It is correct. Yes, sir.
Okay. So according to our understanding, what means we are saying E2 as a voltage source. So it should generate a current and it should deliver to the other part of the circuit. So current will be leaving from your positive terminal, right? So if the current is leaving from the positive terminal, the flux produced by this current is opposing the main flux or not, that we have to check. Okay. So apply right hand thumb rule, place your fingers such that the current shown in the 4 windings of the secondary should indicate your fingers. That means the 4 fingers will be pointing the current direction shown in your winding. Okay. In that case, you observe that your thumb will be showing towards the upward direction. That means towards north. That means the flux which was generated by this current direction is going to oppose the main flux phi. That means it is satisfying the rule of Lenz's law. Is it clear? Simply apply right hand thumb rule and place your 4 fingers such that the current 4 arrows shown in the winding should indicate your 4 fingers, and your thumb will be towards the upward direction, which means that the flux produced by this current will be opposing the main flux, right? That needs to be satisfied according to Lenz's law. Okay. That is the reason why you have positive terminal at the top and negative terminal at the bottom, and current will be coming out of the positive terminal and will be flowing to the load whatever you have connected, right?
Sir.
Yeah.
Sir, if in any case, if we like in the place of load, if we get another voltage source, then
Okay.
what would have, then it is not compulsory now that plus sign current will be delivered from plus sign to minus of the coil.
No, actually, the basic principle is if there is no other voltage source here, it should always follow this law. That means it has to, because it is considered as a voltage source. So the voltage source should generate a current which will oppose the main flux. Okay. If you connect a voltage source here, that means on the V2 place, if you have connected some voltage source, and the voltage which was generated here is
Yes,
more
sir.
than the voltage what you have connected, then the
Yes, sir.
same thing, whatever is shown here, that is going to happen. Okay,
Yes, sir.
right?
Yes, sir. But if
Even
not, then opposite will happen.
even if you have a voltage source which was much higher than your E2 value, the basic principle of opposing the flux is going to happen. But
Yes,
in that scenario, the current which was coming out of this source will be less than the current coming out of delivered from the other source. That means your actual current will be in this direction, opposite to what is shown.
opposite direction current.
Okay, so in that scenario, what you have to do is, if you consider, obviously what is happening, this voltage is more and this voltage is less. That means current will be obviously flowing in the direction of this one. That means opposite to what is shown. That means it is going to become as a voltage drop. You are understanding?
Sir, yes, sir.
Right. So in that scenario, since the voltage which was connected in the place of load is at a higher potential and the voltage which was generated at E2 is at a lower potential, the net current will be flowing from the extreme right to into the winding. So that means it is, you are indirectly converting this into as a voltage drop. Okay,
Yes, sir.
right. Even in that scenario also, it is trying to oppose, but the current which
The
was
net
coming on
current
the
is
but the net current is going to be opposite. All right.
yes, yes,
Okay.
yes.
That is what is happening on your primary side. Because of that reason only, we are considering as a voltage drop. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Right. So this is with regards to polarity. Right. Okay. So I will ask you one question. In the present circuit, you have plus at the top and minus at the bottom. Correct, na?
Yes, sir.
And your first coil is seen to be is visible to you. That means the first turn is visible to you.
Yes, sir.
In this case, right, if you want to, apply Lenz law, if you apply Lenz law, which will be positive and which will be negative?
Sir, top one will be positive, sir.
Top one will be positive.
Yes, sir.
Did you observe any difference between this winding and that winding? The way the winding was wound.
Bottom, sir.
The
Bottom.
down one word is positive, sir. Bottom one is positive.
Yeah. In the present case, in the present scene, what is shown on the screen, the top terminal is positive because your first winding is in this direction, and according to Lenz law, it should oppose your the main flux, right? But in this case, if you see that your first turn is behind your core and it is coming in this fashion, okay, you will have bottom terminal as positive and top terminal as negative, right? Because it has to, same rule, it has to oppose the main flux. Okay, right. So it has to oppose the main flux means, so the current should be, flux should be in this direction, opposite to that. Current is flowing, flux is flowing from top to bottom, main flux, and the flux which was produced by this secondary winding should oppose that. So if you apply that thing, you will understand that bottom terminal will be positive and top terminal will be negative. If
Yes,
you
sir,
want, you can,
understood.
if you want, you can check that. Right. So what I am trying to say is, the way you wound or the way you start winding, your winding on the core based on the first turn, whether you are going to take in this fashion or in this fashion, right? That will determine which is positive and which is negative on the secondary side. Is it clear?
Sir,
This,
sir,
yeah.
that means like if the winding pattern is opposite, like in the first case we said that the primary coil is clockwise and the secondary is anti-clockwise. So it is coming opposite. And in this
You're
case,
talking you're talking about primary means first coil.
yes, sir.
Yeah, right. So if you are taking clockwise, one terminal will be positive and other terminal will be negative. If you are taking anti-clockwise, then it will be opposite.
So
Provided
that
the core direction is same, core flux direction is same, and the way you are winding, whether it's clockwise or anti-clockwise, that will be, I mean, the polarities will be different in both the cases.
sir, is it dependent on clockwise or anti-clockwise? I mean, sir, I observed that if winding pattern is opposite, then the polarities will be opposite. And if they are same, either they be both anti-clockwise or both clockwise, then they should be same polarities on the same side.
You are talking about both means you are comparing with the primary and secondary, or you are
Yes,
comparing the two figures what I have shown?
primary and secondary.
Primary and secondary, right? So in the present circuit, what is the, I mean, it's clockwise or anti-clockwise?
Sir, I am seeing it from up direction, so
Yeah,
it should be
current is flowing in this direction,
anti-clockwise. First primary,
anti-clockwise.
yes, sir. And sir,
Yeah,
secondary two will be anti-clockwise.
both are
Sir, both are
anti-clockwise.
anti-clockwise. So,
So
sir,
both,
polarities are same.
so polarities are same. So that means if you have both as anti-clockwise, that
Both
means both are, I mean, if the B is positive, then M will be positive, right?
and sir, both clockwise too.
Both are clockwise in the present circuit. If you see that, both are seems to be clockwise, right? But
Sir,
if in this case, right, your primary side is anti-clockwise,
in sir, primary is I think clockwise, and I mean I am seeing from the upper side, so it yes anti-clockwise it is.
it is
Okay, sir.
anti-clockwise.
Sir, it is anti-clockwise. Yes,
Anti-clockwise.
sir.
What
And
about
right
this one?
is clockwise.
This is
Clockwise.
clockwise. So
Yes,
okay.
sir.
So in this scenario, your polarity will be opposite. That means if this is positive, this will be positive on the secondary side. Understood?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Right.
sir.
So that means the way you wind your winding on the secondary side, that will determine whether which terminal is positive, which terminal is negative. Okay, right.
Yes, sir.
So if you talk in terms of clockwise and anti-clockwise, that is also correct. Usually they will call it as dot notation. In a real transformer, they will place one dot. Okay, they will place one dot at here. And if the internal winding, because at the transformer you don't know how the winding was internally wound. Okay, so they will place one dot at this terminal and the other dot at this terminal. So what it indirectly means is, if the dotted terminal is positive on your primary side, then the dotted terminal is also positive on your secondary side. Okay, that that is similar to your clockwise and anti-clockwise explanation what we have discussed now. So they will call it in terms of dot convention they will call, right? So in the
Yes, sir.
present circuit, if I place dot here, right, the corresponding dot on the secondary side should be at the bottom, right? In this case, if I place dot at B terminal, then I should place dot at M terminal. Okay, so what it means is, when the dotted terminal on the primary is positive with respect to undotted terminal, at the same instant the dotted terminal on the secondary will be positive with respect to undotted terminal on the secondary side. That's what it means. You are understanding, na?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that is you understand, because based on anti-clockwise, clockwise notation or dot convention, whatever it may be, finally the current which is coming from the secondary winding should produce a flux which should oppose the main flux. According to that, you give the notation plus and minus for the E2 voltage, right? So that's how we have got plus and minus sign for the secondary side voltage E2. Now in the present case, M is positive and N is negative. Right. So now,
Sir,
yeah.
so I did not understand for why there is a voltage drop in primary.
Okay. See, in the secondary side, what is happening is flux is coming. It's a magnetic circuit, right? And your secondary winding and load, whatever you are going to connect, is an electrical circuit, right? Okay. So we are considering that because when you want to study what is happening in one circuit, we should know what is the voltage, what is the current flowing, what load you have connected, right? So since flux is your reference, you have applied Faraday's second law and you observe that minus N2 d5 by dt you have done, and you have got a voltage E2, which is a voltage source. Okay. So that means there is no other source on the secondary side. So this is considered as a voltage source and it is delivering a current into your load. Okay. So this is considered as a voltage source. Okay. Now your question is why there is no negative sign. That is the question, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's see that. If I explain that, whether you will understand or not, I don't know. I will try to say in 2-3 statements. Let's see that. So if you consider that you have placed a minus sign here. Okay. So what will be the current? Now you forget about the source V1. Okay. So I am applying the same rule what I have shown on the secondary side. So what will be the polarity E1? The E1 polarity is positive at B and negative at C. So is it correct or not? That you say first. E1 polarity,
Yes,
what
sir.
is shown on the screen is right or wrong?
Yes, sir.
How you are saying it is right? The basic principle is the flux produced by this E1 should oppose the main flux. Okay. That should be
Yes, sir.
always valid. That's why you are placing minus n. Na? Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes.
So if you do that, so what will happen? What will be the current direction? I am talking about source is not there. IE is not there.
Okay. Okay, sir.
Only E1 is there and N1 turns are there. Flux is coming and cutting your E1 turn, N1 turns, and some EMF is generated. That means we are considering this also as a voltage source. So what will be the current direction?
Sir, opposite.
Opposite. That means it will be delivering current from this terminal into your whatever you are connected. Present case it is source. If source is not there, it will be coming out. Correct?
Yes, sir.
So in that scenario, what is your EMF expression? E1 is equals to
Minus
Minus-
N1 d5
minus N1 d5 by dt.
by dt.
Correct. So secondary side it is minus N2 d5 by dt. Primary side it is minus N1 d5 by dt. Secondary side is considered as a voltage source. Primary side is also considered as a voltage source. Secondary is delivering current into the load. Primary is also delivering current from the E1 terminals into whatever is connected on the other side. Okay. Right. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now if you see here, now I have connected a source. Now E1 is considered as a source given by minus N1 into d5 by dt. Okay. And the current is coming from the positive terminal and it is flowing into the source. Correct, na?
Yes, sir.
So IE and let's say I1 I will call it. Okay. So IE and I1 which will be coming from your E1 terminal are going to be opposite.
Yes, sir.
Okay. According to your KVL expression, right? If the current is flowing into the positive terminal, what is the KVL expression?
Sir, positive, sir.
That means minus V1 plus E1 is equals to 0.
Yes, sir.
That is the passive sign convention, right? So minus V1 plus E1 is equals to 0. So that means V1 is equals to E1, right? But if you consider this one as a source, the current will be coming out of the positive terminal. That means currents are going to opposite. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So in that scenario, this is considered as a source. Okay, so for KVL, if you understand basically when we have discussed regarding KVL, right? So what we have given a polarity for E1 such that current is entering to the positive terminal and current is leaving from the negative terminal. You remember that, no?
Yes,
He
sir.
will give plus and minus sign, considering that, let's say for resistor or reactor, whatever it may be, he will give plus and minus sign such that current is entering into the positive terminal and current will be leaving from the negative terminal. So that is how you have given a passive sign convention for element in a circuit. Okay, right. According to that, if I give plus and minus and I consider it as a voltage drop, it is correct, right? But your current is going to flow opposite to your excitation current. Now what happens? Your KVL should be such that it should be minus of minus. What it means is, in that scenario, you can't take plus sign. You have to take a minus sign because one current is coming out. You understood, no?
Yes, sir.
If you understand KVL, plus and minus signs are given such that some current is flowing and your current is entering the positive terminal, that you denote as positive. But if you consider E1 as a source, the current is coming out of the positive terminal. That means both the current directions are opposite.
Yes, sir.
Okay, both the current directions are opposite. So when you apply KVL, what happens is V1
Is equal to minus E1.
minus E1 and E1 is equals to minus N1 d phi by dt.
Yes, sir.
Correct. So minus of minus will become again plus.
Okay, sir.
I hope you understood.
Yes, sir.
Even,
Yes, sir.
even if you are not understanding properly, the basic principle is the current which was coming out of E1 terminal is trying to oppose your current IE. Okay, so according to KVL, the current should be in the same direction. Okay, but your current is going to oppose because you have considered it as a source. So minus of minus you will get. So that minus of minus will again become plus. So to avoid all this confusion, I have told this statement straight away, that we are considering E1 as a voltage drop, not as a voltage source. That's why I have removed minus sign. Okay.
Sir,
If you talk properly or if you speak exactly what we have discussed now is the correct. That means I should explain you such that minus of minus will come, because of minus of minus it will become plus. That's why I have given E1 as N1 into d phi by dt. This is the actual explanation I should give. Okay. Before saying this, E1 is equals to N1 into d phi by dt. But I thought you may get confused. That's why I have told both are correct. What I have written on the screen and what I have explanation, what I have given till now is also correct. But to avoid your confusion only, I have stated that we are considering E1 not as a voltage source. We are considering it as a voltage drop in the direction of excitation current. That's why I stated this point. Treated as a voltage drop in the direction of excitation current, so that you can apply KVL straight away. So that's why E1 is equals to N1 into d phi by dt. Okay. So to avoid that confusion only, I have straight away given like this. But if you talk exactly, I should explain all that thing and then come to this point. I hope you
Sir,
understood. Yeah.
yes, sir.
sir, as Saurabh said, it was mine confusion too when I was in, I think, 11th, 12th. But what I just sir, I never use formula. I'm confirming you that thing. That sir, I never
Yeah.
use the formula of that E is equals to minus of n d phi by dt. I always used this as a simple n d phi by dt, and minus sign, it was just for me like it is opposing. So we should use it with our own mindset,
Yeah.
like as you
No,
told me.
it's not like one mindset. What means the minus sign you will place when you are considering as a voltage source. Okay. And
Yes.
minus sign will not be placed when you are not considering as a voltage source. That's the only difference.
Sir,
If you
once
are considering, yeah, if you are considering it as a voltage drop, so when you will consider it as a voltage drop, there is some other source which is connected in your circuit. Then only you will consider it as you can consider it as a voltage drop, right? If there is no other voltage source connected in your circuit, if you see here on the primary side, there is some voltage source. It is already pumping some amount of current into your primary winding. Okay. Now I can choose E1 as a voltage drop and give this expression N1 into d5 by dt. There is nothing wrong, right? Right. So I am considering voltage E1 as a voltage drop, and I will apply KVL also. Everything will work, not an issue. On the secondary side, if you see, there is no voltage source, right? So some current needs to be flow on the secondary winding, means I should consider E2 as a voltage source only, not I can't consider as a drop, right? Because drop we will consider only some other source is there and it is pumping current in your winding. But in the present case, there is no other source on the secondary side. So this needs to be considered as a source. So to consider it as a source, I should use an expression minus n into d5 by dt according to Lenz's law, right? That minus stands for current which was generated, opposing the main flux. The current should be such that it will oppose the main flux, right? So that's why we will consider minus sign on the secondary side.
Yes, sir. Sir, I mean to say that I use only d5 by dt as magnitude of EMF. Like, and then direction I can obviously guess, like as if in the primary circuit it is just consuming power. So current should
Yeah,
enter
yeah.
in the positive, and for the secondary terminal there is no source, so it should it should give power to the circuit. Then it
Yeah,
should current should leave the positive terminal, and I can
Yeah,
then
yeah, yeah. That what you are actually, I mean, what you have told is correct, but I should represent the same in mathematically also, right? So to represent that in mathematically, that minus sign is going to come into picture, right?
yes, sir. It's just showing the nature.
Yeah, showing the nature. That means the physically the flux is going to oppose. I should represent that physical significance or physically what is happening in terms of expression. So that's why that minus sign is placed. Always Lenz's law
Okay.
states that only. Lenz's law, the minus sign is coming into picture only to denote the physical opposition of flux which was developed and which is opposing the main flux. Since they both are in opposite direction, that's why we are replacing the minus sign. That's what Lenz's law states.
Okay, sir.
Right. Okay. So this is the expression for E1, and so now try to find out expression for E2 based on this formula, considering E2 as a voltage source and using the minus sign, find the expression for E2. Did anyone got what is the expression for E2? You're able to hear me, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So simply substitute phi is equals to phi m sin omega t again and do the derivation for that and try to avoid that minus sign.
Sir, it is sin n2 omega pi m sin omega t minus pi by 2.
Right. Right. So you don't have any negative sign in between, right? So finally it is omega n 2 phi max into sine of omega t minus pi by 2. Everyone should get this expression. Right. So minus n2 into derivative of phi max into sine of omega t. Derivative of sine is cos of omega t. So I want to avoid this minus. That means if I convert into equivalent sine function, what happens is omega t minus 90 degrees you will get. Right. So I hope everyone got this. Right. Simply you are derivating and trying to avoid this minus sign. Because I want to compare E1 and E2. E1 is already a positive amplitude. So E2 also should be in terms of positive amplitude. That's why I am eliminating this minus. So I am converting into equivalent sign and I got it as sine of omega t minus 90 degrees. Right. So I hope everyone got this. Anyone you got right? So
Yes,
one,
sir. Yes,
one
sir.
student has already got. So I hope others also got. Nothing much is there, simply derivating and trying to avoid that minus sign. Okay. So if you see that you are going to get E2 max into sine of omega t minus 90 degrees. Right. So what is RMS value again? Simply max divided by root 2, that is root 2 into pi into f into n2 into phi max. Only here you will have n2. In E1 case it will be n1. That's all. Nothing much difference. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So seeing the RMS values, E1 is root 2 into pi into f into n2 into phi max. And what is E1 expression? E1 RMS value.
Only in place of N2, it is N1.
Yeah. So in place of N2, it is N1. So what I can conclude is from equations 1 and equations 2, E1 by E2 is equals to N1 by N2. Or E1 by N1 is equals to E2 by N1. So what it means is EMF per turn in the primary winding is equals to EMF per turn in the secondary winding. Right. So that means for the flux phi is equals to phi m sin omega t we have chosen, we observe that E1 is going to have a plus 90 degrees leading angle and E2 is going to have minus 90 degrees lagging angle with respect to flux phi. Okay. And if you see the RMS expressions for E1 and E2, only N1 and N2 is the difference, remaining things remain the same. So that means E1 by E2 is equals to N1 by N2. Okay. Or EMF per turn in the primary is equals to EMF per turn in the secondary winding. Right. So this is regarding your EMF expression and the corresponding RMS values for primary and secondary windings and the polarity notation we have seen. And we have seen a relation which is E1 by E2 is equals to N1 by N2. Right. So this is regarding your basic EMF expressions for an ideal transformer. Okay. Right. I hope it is clear to you. So now it's already 12:33. So around 12:40 we will meet again. Okay. 12:40 we will meet and we will start discussing. Right. Okay then. We'll join at 12:40.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you.
Sir, I'm done, sir. Sir.